Hello, you guys. My name is Andrea Davis, and this week my PowerPoint is over readability and legibility. The difference between the two is that readability refers to whether an extended amount of text is easy to read. For example, a newspaper or a book or a magazine article or any type of article is what readability is referring to. And then legibility refers to whether a smaller amount of text is instantly recognizable. So a headline, a paragraph, a shorter news article, or the paragraphs that we respond to in our discussions for class. Here is one example. Clearly, the right side is much easier to read and to identify exactly what it is saying. Obviously, on the left side, we know what it's saying, but it is a bit harder to read than the right side is. Fonts can affect readability and legibility. So, good readability and the poor legibility side are very different. The font on the right side is much easier to read, although that the font on the right side is a fun font, it is still very hard to read. And then for good readability and poor readability, the good readability side is a more comfortable type of font than the poor readability side is. I feel like the poor readability side is less comfortable to read if you read it like it's in a paragraph, if you were to use that font for a paragraph. But if you were to use that font as a header, which is like 1 or 2 words, I feel like that would be okay. But for a paragraph, I don't think that would be a very good font to choose. And then colors can affect readability and legibility. So on the far left side, we can see that it is very dark against the white lettering. And then on the far right side, the white font against the light blue background is very difficult to read. I feel like if we were to put a black font or black lettering instead of the white lettering, it would be much easier to read against that light blue background. But since it is a white font, it is much harder to read. Other things that we have to take into consideration with readability and legibility is the spacing between lines. So on the far left side, we can see that the lines are very close together. They're not overlapping, but they are very close together, and so it makes it much harder to read. And then in the middle, it is a much better spacing of words. You're not going to get lost in the paragraph as easily as you would on the left example, but you could still possibly get lost if you're not focusing very much on what you're reading. And then on the right side, it is much of a looser spacing in between lines. But if you were to prefer that looser spacing, that would be okay. But yeah, that is my presentation this week. I hope you guys have a great weekend.